Hello everyone. Today we're talking about something really important, the early signs of dementia that can show up a decade before diagnosis. Now before you panic, don't jump to conclusions. Just because you notice some of these things doesn't mean you're doomed, but it does mean your brain is asking for help, and the sooner you listen, the better chance you have to keep your brain sharp for life. One of the very first signs can be changes in movement and coordination. Maybe you used to be great at catching a ball, but now you fumble it. Or maybe you notice more clumsiness, tripping on things, bumping into furniture, or struggling with fine motor skills like buttoning your shirt or tying shoelaces. Even tiny tremors in your hands, ones that weren't there before, can be little red flags. Why does this happen? Because your brain cells aren't firing as precisely, they don't generate as much energy as they used to, and that gradual decline over years can set the stage for dementia. Here's the big mistake most people make. We think diseases just show up one day. You feel fine, then suddenly you're diagnosed with dementia, diabetes, or heart disease. But the truth is more like this. Imagine your body starts at 100% function. Through your teens and 20s, nature is generous. But after 20, you lose a little function every year. You don't notice at first because you're still above the symptom threshold, but eventually the decline shows. And here's the key, most treatments only cover symptoms. They don't add function back. That's why we must start now to protect brain health, because the brain is the CEO of your body. Every heartbeat, every breath, every step depends on it. Think of your brain like your smartphone battery. At 20, you're at 100% charge. But if you keep using apps, running programs, and never recharge properly, one day it just shuts off. Another early clue, changes in posture and walking. Maybe you shuffle a little more, your stride shortens, or you stoop forward. Look at people in their 70s and 80s. Many show this hunched, slow walk. That often begins years earlier. Even subtle things, like your arms rotating inward or your head drifting forward, can be signs. The brain isn't turning off certain muscles properly. But here's the good news. Observation is therapy. If you notice your shoulders rolling forward, practice pulling them back. If your gait shortens, work on bigger, springier steps. It's the classic use it or lose it. Practicing proper movement literally trains your brain to stay strong. Balance is another sign. If you start stumbling, misjudging distances, or struggling to multitask while moving, like turning and walking at the same time, that's your brain showing cracks. Also, spinal stiffness is huge. Yoga, stretching, and mobility work aren't just about flexibility. They literally keep your brain alive. Why? Because 90% of the brain's stimulation comes from body movement and gravity. This is why babies spend their first year learning to crawl, roll, and balance. Those movements build the brain as much as the body. Movement wires intelligence. Of course, we can't ignore the more classic signs. Forgetting names, words, or tasks, trouble focusing or organizing, losing track in conversation, subtle speech changes like slurring or speaking slower, smaller, messier handwriting, something called micrographia. But it's not just memory. You may notice more irritability or emotional outbursts, social withdrawal, anxiety or depression, even reduced empathy or interest in others. The brain's job is not just to think, but to inhibit, to put the brakes on impulses, negative thoughts, or unhelpful emotions. When it loses that power, little frustrations turn into big blow-ups. Albert Einstein's brain was found to have unusually strong connections in areas related to focus and emotional regulation. That wiring may have helped him stay so productive and curious well into later life. Here's something most people miss. Loss of smell can be one of the earliest dementia clues. If coffee or food smells dull or you struggle to recognize odors, it may be your brain, not your nose. Same with hearing. You might technically hear sounds, but your brain struggles to interpret them, especially in noisy places. Vision too. Your eyes work, but the brain misjudges distances, especially in low light. These are subtle signs of processing decline. Doctors now consider smell tests a potential early diagnostic tool for Alzheimer's. Lastly, dementia can show up in your executive function. Poor decision-making, unsafe choices, overspending, indecisiveness, loss of spontaneity and motivation. If paying bills feels overwhelming or you stop enjoying hobbies, they can be brain signals. So what do? Eat better, avoid low-grade inflammation and junk, move better, your brain thrives on motion, think better, practice positive thoughts, relaxation, and joy. Because yes, happiness is a health strategy. Your brain controls everything you are and everything you do. So pay attention to the whispers before they turn into shouts. Start today and your future self will thank you. If you found this video helpful, you're going to love the next one. Make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a life-saving tip.